Aloha everyone, a story time with that bitch, me. And as you know, the identities of these people will be kept secret. Here we go. I was 12 years old. I got into a website called Spells of Magic. The website was filled with fake spells and fun little games. And I actually did make a few friends. Friends I would last me for a long time. But I also met Tyler. Tyler was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He was kind, sweet, and caring. He told me he cared about me and that we could be friends. After a while, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I felt like I knew him well enough. He had shown me his face. He seemed legit and real, so I said yes. He instructed that I put on my profile that I was taken and was owned. I didn't know what being owned meant, but I never understood. Part 2. I didn't know what being owned meant, but I understood that I was his. He remained charming for many weeks, teaching me how to obey, how to sit, and how to ask for certain things via roleplay. Now that I'm older, I understand that I was being groomed, but back then, I just thought that I was bird. There is a typo. I'm not sure what it says. I got a good girlfriend. After another week of kind behavior from Tyler, he asked for a picture. When I said no, that kind facade disappeared like somewhat replaced. It was ugly and menacing. Tyler told me that if I didn't do as he said, he'd kill my family. I didn't believe him. That was until he showed me a picture of my house and my address along with a gun. In that moment, I realized that between a life... Part 3. In that moment, I realized that between a life in bonds or a life with no family, I was choosing bondage. Once I made my decision, I told Tyler, and his reaction was to send me a list of poses I needed to do in a video. Very mild stuff, more than mild than I was expecting. But of course, it escalated. He started wanting more things at all hours of the day. Picture after picture, video after video, things I delete off my school-issued iPad. Then came Tyler introducing me to his friends, and soon I'd have a whole network of people asking me for role plays, pictures, and videos. Soon I started to think of it as a job, day in and day out. I'd get up, I'd go to school, and as much time doing homework as possible, and then the rest of the night would be spent doing work. I was mentally exhausted and felt ashamed. Part 4. I was mentally exhausted and I felt ashamed along with dirty. So I began to cut my arm and legs with scissors, something that would become an addiction afterwards. During that time, I met a boy named Jesse online. He was kind and kept me from killing myself, so he didn't know I was working, and neither did other friends I met. They were my small escape. Eventually, Tyler dangled freedom in front of my eyes. I could be free as long as I bought in another willing slave. So I introduced him to my real-life friend, who he, of course, took willingly. But I wasn't freed. I was just stuck there with a friend who did nothing wrong. I wasn't alone anymore, so that was nice. My parents felt like I was on the iPad too much, though, so one weekend they took it away. I did try to steal it back, and of course I was caught. But you must understand... Part 5. But you must understand that back then I thought my family was in danger of Tyler. Once I got it back, I was severely punished by Tyler for disobeying and was forced back into bondage. Eventually my parents found out, of course, and they were furious at me. They asked me why in the world I hadn't told them, why I was whoring myself out like this, and why I was being a slut. They never asked if I was okay, who hurt me, or if I needed help. It was all blame and shame day in and day out. I understand what fear and anger can do to a person, but this was just cruel. They blamed me for getting into harm's way, me for being a slut, and me for being a whore. They didn't blame him. After all, it was my fault. This was something I still to this day haven't fully forgiven them for. After they found out... Part 6. After they found out, I was on watch for many, many months. Something I didn't like but understood. What I couldn't understand was why my own mother asked if she should call me a slut, since I sure seemed to act like one. And my other mom, hovered over my shoulder like a hawk and constantly yelled at me for small mistakes. I didn't have privacy or anything. The only thing that gave me comfort was cutting and writing letters to Jesse. My parents, of course, dragged me to the police station where they humiliated me, and then to the school where they embarrassed me in front of my friends and teachers. So everyone knew what had happened, and my teachers watched me as my peers called me a slut and whore. I had nowhere safe to go, no safe place. Church wasn't safe, home wasn't safe, and school wasn't safe. My parents continued to take away my Part 7. My parents continued to take away my door, my locks, everything that made me feel safe. And when they would leave me home alone, they would take everything: remotes, phones, computers, everything. I was completely cut off, which didn't help since I thought Tyler was coming to kill me. I knew that if he did, I'd die. I didn't have a way to call 911 since there was no phones or a place to run since I had no friends. One night I was home alone and my dog started barking at the locked door. I heard the door rattle and I picked up a knife and my dog before bolting to my room and stay there until my parents came home. I didn't feel safe in my own home or even in my dreams since Tyler would find me there too. I was terrified and alone, so I tried to end my life. My mom didn't even care though. Part 8. My mom didn't even care though, which only made things worse. Years continued on where I'd suffer from PTSD, anxiety, DID, and cutting. My parents still wouldn't care and would constantly blame me for the situation and felt like every moment I needed to be around them. Eventually, they started understanding why I was angry or had PTSD, and we moved on. I stopped cutting and writing letters to Jesse, and now I'm in college. I still dream about Tyler, though, and sometimes I still miss him. But very rarely do I look back, and I wish I was still with him. And that site, Spells of Magic, apparently has a huge sex trafficking ring, so I know that there are other victims like me. So at least I wasn't the only one, right? Part 9, and this was advice to me. From watching your videos, you're doing a great job of keeping her away from him. Like, seriously, keep it up. The only minor I think it's a typo mistake. The only minor something of advice I would give you is just to let her know that you love her and that all you're trying to do is keep her safe. I know that if my parents had told me that right away, I would have ended up much, much better. Also, I don't know if you need to hear this, but it does get better. She will get better, and this moment is only a moment. It's not the rest of your life, and trust me on that. She'll be okay. She just needs to escape from him, and that'll take a minute. Anyways, thank you for reading my story and keep it up. You're being a great mom and a huge asset to sexual trauma advisors. Thanks again. What your parents did to you is absolutely wrong. I can't believe they started blaming you and didn't even bother to see if you're okay. And what you went through shouldn't have happened to you. It shouldn't have happened to anybody. But I'm definitely going to contact the right people, missing and exploited children, and the FBI to look into spells of magic. So what you said, this is, I'm so sorry for what you went through. That shouldn't have fucking happened to you. Now, I understand that you said that your parents eventually started understanding why you had PTSD, and you were mad at them. But did they even apologize? Like, they didn't even bother. I know you told them that the reason why you did it is because you wanted to save their lives, and they're not even grateful for that. I'm sorry. To everyone who is a survivor, or everyone who is reading this, it is not the victim's fault for what happened to them. It is not. Stop blaming the victim. Sorry, I'm pissed. I'm really pissed.